firstly I will cover about what is ray and what is the difference between a ray and a beam. So ray basically is a very thin beam of light which is having a source, well defined source. So ray originates from a source, just like a point source. Let's say this is point source, and so there can be several rays which is originating from this point. So there can be many rays, and a beam. So this is very thin beam basically, and a beam is very thick ray. So I have defined ray in terms of beam and beam in terms of a ray. So beam is basically a very thick ray, or there are several rays in a beam. So let's say we have a torch. It's like we have a torch. So this portion of the light which travels in a straight line, this very circular cross section is a beam, and each thin segment is a ray. So these are basically ray travels in a straight line. So here you can see that this is traveling in a straight line. So if we look into the what is the type of rays, so there are basically two types. One is paraxial rays, and second one is marginal rays. Marginal rays. So in case of light, this is paraxial light rays. And this is marginal light rays. This is marginal light rays. So paraxial light rays are basically rays which just, let's say we can define it with the example of lenses. So we know that there is a lens, then this lens is having its axis. So let's say PA is the principal axis. So if a ray which is very parallel, or we can say that it is almost parallel to the principal axis of this lens, or it is making very small angle with the principal axis, or it is nearly parallel to the principal axis. So these rays, ray 1 and ray 2, so rays which are parallel or almost parallel to principal axis, these are basically paraxial light rays, and the rays which makes certain angle with the principal axis, let's say this ray and this one R4, this principal axis. So these R3 and R4 basically marginal light rays. So we can also define these rays whether they are diverging or converging. So if a ray which originates from a point and goes in several directions, so these are basically diverging rays. This is point source. So these basically origin of rays, and if a ray is coming to a point, just like these rays, so these rays coming to a point. So these are basically converging rays. So these type of rays are basically very useful when we will discuss about the ray optics in detail. So these rays are basically very helpful in several other principles also. So in the in the after some time I will discuss about the ray optics principles, and we will first cover the basically reflection of light. Then we will go to the different laws